All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to form Warbotron. And really, we're going to start off with the limbs, as they're pretty much the easiest part. So we're going to move the main figure, his guns, and this piece off to the side. And we're going to start off with the little tank dudes. The little tank dudes are very easy to transform. First, push the foot or the gray piece down, and normally I like to display them with the cannons out. Flip the cannons back so that the peg hole, or which should have a peg, is displayed like that. And the little peg hole or peg holes hold these pegs, which peg into the backs of Heavy Tread and Not Swindle. So you can then just peg them in. Now, I did kind of goof when I first was playing with these guys, and I kind of pulled them out too far. They don't look like they're supposed to pull out this far, so you do need to be careful not to pull them out all the way. You can get them clipped back in, but as you'll see once we do the final combination, pulling them out all the way causes some minor issues. And the legs are formed, or the bottom part of the legs are formed, if we just flip that out. So with Heavy Tread, you just flip the front of the tank all the way down. That's it. And then fold up the turret. With Not Swindle, you fold the front of the Jeep mode down and make sure that the undercarriage here is out of the way. Now, what you can do is fold these wheels down. Additionally, you can fold them all the way down like this. You don't have to, though. In fact, it might actually be better if you don't, because they will rub up against Heavy Tread here. And personally, I just like to deck out Heavy Tread and Not Swindle here, whose name I just cannot remember, with their guns. And Heavy Tread, I kind of like to put the other guns from some of the other guys on him because, well, I can, because in the final combine mode, they're not going to be able to sit anywhere. Now that the feet are done, we're going to go ahead and move on to the bed section, or the flatbed section. First, reach underneath and flip out this little gray piece. Take the connector port and flip that down and snap it into place. Sometimes it snaps in better than it did there. Reach underneath and flip out the front skirts. Then take the whole bed, split it open, fold it all the way up, and then accordion it out and fold it down so it kind of looks like combiner legs. Then come around to that part that we flipped out before, and that will actually peg in there and hold those sections in place. Now we can flip up the rear of the beds and fold down what will be the upper shins or upper thighs, and fold these sections down to form the lower thighs. And then we could go ahead and attach this section to the feet. This requires a lot more force than I am really comfortable with, because you see this little tab here? That will actually get held in place by that opening there. So we do it on one leg, and we do it on the other, and we grunt manly. Oh, get in there. And here we have a nice lower half of a robot. Next up are the arms, and really all I did was go off the look of the directions. You pretty much just put both of these guys into vehicle mode, and then just pull the legs out and move the robot arms around to where they're out of the way, extend the pegs, and then put the fists in between the legs. Now with not Vortex here, or Whirlwind, the foot moving was a little bit weird because you had to swivel the feet completely 180 and then get these wings out onto the side. So that was really the only difficult part. One thing I do want to mention though is there is a wrist joint in here that is so ridiculously tight. Trying to turn it or trying to get it to actually bend will put so much force on the connector port that it'll pop the legs apart and make the hand fall out. And that's on both hands. And finally, we come to Fierce Attack himself. We're going to start off by removing the missiles on his side skirts, and the missiles on these sections down here. So just pull all those missiles off and put them off to the side and remove the double cannon. So where do we go from here? To start off with, we're going to reach around back, flip open the green panel, and flip up the Warbotron head, put it into place, and extend his mighty crest horn. And actually, right now, he just looks like a football player transformer dude. Take the arms and fold them forward such that the truck components, or truck grille and bumper, are pointing towards where the figure is looking. Open up the hands and fold the fists in to the forearms. Once we've got the fists folded in, there are these nice gray tabs that flip out and will actually hold the shoulders in place. And they flip out and snap into place. Sometimes easier said than done, especially on the figure's right side. I don't know why this piece will not go in gently, but it just won't. So you kind of have to just give it your best shot. Next up, we are going to take the legs, combine or push them together, and then collapse them like we're transforming him into vehicle mode. Open up the shins to flip the feet up, or the front feet up, and close them. And then fold the rear feet up like that. And then reach underneath this green piece and actually unpeg the wheels. The wheels will unpeg and then fold them up towards the front of the shins. And you'll see why we do this here in a second. The next step is involving these green tabs and folding them in once and then collapsing them along the back and snapping them together to create a flush back. And then when we do that, we can take the entire bottom section of the figure and fold it up like this, and then flip the wheels, or the bottom wheels, up and have them form a backpack. And they will peg into place. And at this point, the directions say to fold these up, but really you don't have to. You can leave them down, but we'll do what the directions say and have them folded up, even though they don't really want to stay up, as you can see. Now, if we did not fold these bottom wheels up, we would be running into some problems with clearance, but since we did, everything went smoothly. Next, we're going to take the arms, and oh man, that does not sound good. And they are supposed to fold straight back, but I've never really been able to get them to go well at all. They're supposed to go straight back, and so they just kind of sit back like that. Then you close these wheels up and make sure they peg into place. And we are almost done. We have to take our fingers and just flip these little doors up, flip these sections on the shoulders up, and then flip out the connector ports. And this is where we run into problems, like I said in the Fierce Attack full review. These little doors just pop right off if you are not very careful. And just getting them back on is a real pain in the butt. So get that flipped out. And, there we go. And gently close that up. And we have a disembodied upper torso. Drop the torso onto the connector port. And be very, very careful of how you do this. Then grab this section and flip out the wings, peg it into place right in these two pegs. Note, this doesn't always work because the peg holes are a little bit too big But sometimes, if you have the grace of Primus, it will stay. And now we just need to add some arms and some wicked-ass cannons. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce Warbotron. Probably one of the most awesome third-party combiners I have ever gotten my hands on. There are some minor issues with this set, and that's why I didn't want to review it as soon as I got the figure out of the box. Or Fierce Attack out of the box, I should say. I wanted to give myself a couple of days so I could get you guys a decent review and not sound all stupid. Because when I figured out how to get around some of the little issues and little nagging points that I found, and once I figured out how to transform the figure correctly given the lousy directions, I'm smitten. This is an absolutely fantastic third-party combiner. It's huge, and I'll do a size comparison here with another couple of figures in a second. But I wanted to show you guys that this figure, or this set of figures, is just truly impressive. I don't think I really dislike any of them. There are problems. Oh, don't get me wrong. There are some real problems with this set, specifically with Fierce Attack and my general malaise towards Whirlwind. But Fierce Attack has those issues with the creaking joints and just a general, I don't know how to describe it, a general incompleteness feeling to him. But the set as a whole, properly transformed and properly combined, is simply phenomenal. For a combiner of his size, he is somewhat posable, but you are going to run into some real limitations given the bulk and the way the figure has been designed. Specifically with the arm there, right of airburst. Those hip joints are not strong enough to hold that pose in certain positions. The same has to go with Whirlwind. Those hip joints for the figure are not that strong. The feet are really no problem whatsoever. They've got nice big heels and they hold the figure up perfectly fine as long as the connector ports are connected snugly down there. And he does have ankle support, or I should say ankle posability, and foot posability. Like I said, it is posable, but you do have to be a bit careful. If you don't pose vortex or airburst correctly, this tends to happen. It's not pretty. As we just saw, the combined mode is highly posable given its size. Head is on a swivel and does have some up and down movement, but you do have a problem with you lifting it up as part of the transformation. Shoulders move freely except for the right shoulder, which you saw earlier, has that gray peg issue where it doesn't peg in all the way in the back. I have to see if I could fix that. But you do have a lot of movement, though it is super squeaky. And remember earlier I mentioned about the wrists not wanting to move, but the fingers move with no real problem. And I just broke something. Hips are nice and ratchety, along with the knees, though I do have a tendency to grab the figure when I go to transform him and end up doing a slight mistransformation on him. So then we have some issues like we do now. And the ankles are articulated pretty well. Overall, it's pretty good, but I just can't get past some of these engineering issues. And I think that's just me. But the look of the figure, once it's in this form, is fantastic. In terms of scale, he is easily one of the biggest third-party combiners. He's head and shoulders bigger than freaking Hercules from TFC. I mean, the Warbotron's just massive, and he's bulky in that G1 way that just works. Warbotron is awesome, but deeply flawed. There's a lot of great engineering in this set, but there are also some severe shortcomings. And to be honest, I can't totally recommend the set right now. Wait for it to go on sale for maybe $200 to $250. That's $200 to $250. Then I think the whole set is worth it. But at the current asking price of almost $500 to $600, I can't recommend it. Simply because there, as I said, just too many small little flaws that make the figure feel incomplete. So what does that mean for their second set, the Not Computron set? I don't know. I have the first Not Computron figure, which I've already reviewed, and I like that a lot, but I'm really worried about the rest of the set. I might just hold off a little bit and see how that set goes, because it took a good year and a half for this set to come out. So we've got some time. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video review of Warbotron. As always, I am Baltmatrix, asking you to like, comment, and subscribe, and please be sure to stick around for my next video review.